so freaking bad. Wrestle me.
Welcome, everybody, to Choose Pro Wrestling Podcast, episode 231. The needle and the damage done. And no, motherfucker, this ain't no Neil Young. With us, we have XPW wrestler, The Body. Body, brother, how the fuck are you doing tonight?
Good. My whiny ass little voice comes in after an introduction like that.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like I said, Jay Martinez put you guys over to me earlier. So a friend of James is a friend of mine. I'm excited to do the show.
Fuck yeah, dude. Man, Loco and Jaime, they're some fucking class acts, and I love what they're doing down there in good old Texas. We should have went there, Sretton, instead of Palais Pro. Whatever I said it. Fucking Kyle, where the fuck you been, motherfucker?
Fucking shit.
So let's just jump right into it, man, because you've had a very high profile situation this past month.
Right.
Last XPW pay-per-view, to quote a Gigi Allen song that you weren't aware of until just today.
You got a needle up your cock.
How did this very controversial spot, which I loved it. I thought it was fucking funny. It's edgy as fuck. It's XPW. If you guys aren't aware of what XPW really is, maybe you need to go back and watch some of our episodes with like Soul Taker and Cat Martini and Jasmine St. Clair and Schlack and so on and so forth, or go back and watch the fucking Dark Side of the Ring. Then you can get a real taste and understanding of what they're trying to do. And they're doing it on their own platform. They got off a fight for a reason. So streamxpw.com is the place to be. But this spot, dude, so you're wrestling Big fucking Joe. And all of a sudden, I mean, there's just a fucking needle coming up your dick, man. What was the behind the music on this? Was this planned? It had to have been planned because that's a sore subject.
Right. No. Yeah. Thank God. If Joe just was pulling people's dicks out and stabbing them, that would be obviously a whole other problem.
He would be the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
He stabs people in the dick.
A different meaning to the word shoot for sure. But he so the funny part is with this spot, I wanted to do that against Sexy Eddie when I wrestled him in Soul Taker.
You bit his dick that one time, right?
Yes, yeah, Eddie, or I bit Eddie's dick that match. But in that same match, that same night, I wanted to do that spot with Eddie, where I wanted to have him pull my dick out and stab the thing in it. And Eddie, being like an old schooler guy, was like, well, we should probably build to it. Like, we need to like set it up. Let's not just blow our load in one night. So I was fine with that. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be hard to find somebody else that's willing to do this spot. So like to pull my dick out and do it. Like it's hard to convince somebody to do it, right? But Eddie was willing to. So I kind of waited for him to do it. He ended up working with GCW. I don't know when he's coming back. So I couldn't wait any longer. I was tired of waiting because I knew that it was going to obviously be talked about. So I asked Joe that night. I was like, hey, listen, like, would you mind, sticking this needle in my dick? And he thought it was a joke at first, like, and then finally he's like, give me a little to think about it and then come back to me, right? And I'm like sitting by Gorilla, and Joe comes up to me and he's like, hey man, like, can I wear a glove? And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you can double bag it for all you want. Like, as long as you pull the thing out, you're good, right? So Joe was like, okay, as long as I wear a glove, like it's not, I'm not touching another dude's penis. Which when I said that to Rob brought up the ultimate point where he was like, well, how does Joe feel about condoms then? Like if somebody's wearing a condom and they fuck him with it, is that okay? Like, because he as long as there was a glove on, he didn't give a fuck, right? But he ended up not even wearing the glove, which was the funniest part. But all I remember was like, so he's like, okay, let's do it. And then he asked Rob, like, if we could do it. And Rob, I already knew he was going to say yes because Rob had cleared it before with the Eddie spot.
Dude, he probably was doing the Mr. Burns when you said it, like backstage.
Yeah, he's in his element now. Now we're talking, right? He's like, I fucking have been waiting for you to ask me. So he's like, absolutely, let's do it. And then I'm sitting there the whole like getting ready. We're kind of close to each other. And every time I looked over at Joe, he was like so fucking scared. Like I could just see the fear and him, like where he was so nervous, and he kept saying that it was the first dick that he's grabbed, and he was scared to like put it in the wrong way, like the needle in the wrong way. Like he was like super like there's somebody made a funny clip of like Joe thinking about it with like all these math equations in the background. But
Jeopardy theme music behind it.
Yeah, but that's truly how his brain was. Like in the moment, he looked like he was like his life was flashing before his eyes the whole time, right?
Sure, fucking was.
And it literally, yeah, literally was. And I'm even like, it's almost easier to take the spot than it is to give the spot, because like take the spot, I'm just standing there and trusting him. Joe's the one who actually has to go in there and grab it, right? But he goes out. Joe's a professional. He did it great. I didn't even feel it. Like, you want to talk about adrenaline, the euphoria you get being in a room full of people naked. It was like, if you could bottle it, you would be rich. It felt like a dream, like not like a dream, like I wanted to do it, but like euphoric, like a dream. You didn't in the moment, you didn't like kind of think to yourself like, damn, I wish my dick was bigger. Well, that's I'm thinking I'm thinking before my music hits. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that the moment going into the spot, there was a thing where Joe's like, do you want to take a Cialis before you go, like a Viagra before you go out there, to try to give it a little extra, fluff it up a bit for the show. And I said no, because I didn't want to be like, if people saw me with a hard on with the needle going, they would be like, dude, Hardbody's got a whole other boat of problems than we thought. Like, this dude's erected while somebody's stabbing a needle in his dick. Like, we need to put him in jail, right?
Yeah, he's the Antichrist. Hide your kids.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the guy with the boner getting my fucking shit stabbed. So I didn't take it, but if I could go back, I would have shaved my pubes at least. That would probably
you're a fucking real asshole. You know that. At least give the guy, some fucking nice scenery, fucking bushwhackers and shit.
Apparently, they were hanging out in the hotel or whatever, and like, because I drive back after I went to go hang out with this chick after that one, and then I drive back. But they were all hanging out in the hotel, and apparently Drake just goes, "Man, did anyone else see Hardbody's penis? That shit looks disgusting, man." So,
and he's probably seen some disgusting shit.
Oh, and Cal Martini said it looked like a waffle cone, and that was the best. That was the best description I think I got of it, especially in the photo in that moment. I don't know why it was that much darker than normal. It's not normally that much like discolored, so I have no idea what the fuck happened.
I mean, a little bruising after the puncture is common after these spots.
Internal bleeding. It could have been internal bleeding.
Oh God, dude.
But I was gonna post the next morning like a photo of just like an AIDS-riddled cock, like a super gross one, and be like, "Hey, my head hurts." Like follow up of the match, like my head's really ringing today, and it just be like a dismangled penis. But I knew it would just get flat. I knew there's always that one person, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not even gonna bother if my penis is fine.
So it was we just stretched the skin, or was it right through the head? Because I haven't watched the actual pay-per-view yet, because I gotta wait fucking.
I can send you a thing for it, but it's uncircumcised, so he pulled down the foreskin and just kind of went up throughout the skin. But he went like, I was gonna go through down the head the long way, but he like ran it up upwards. So if you see a photo of it still, it kind of goes in and then it's like pops back out of another point, like up more.
Motherfucker, crocheting your dick.
Yeah, essentially. And my biggest fear was just that it was gonna fall off, because I was like, I can't after all of this, like, because the way I pitched it was put it in and then give me time to do like the stanky leg around, because I wanted everybody to be able to take home that WrestleMania moment with them, right? I didn't want anyone to feel shafted. So I made sure like to give me time to kind of wiggle around and see everybody. So if I was doing that walk around to try to show everybody, and that needle pops out of my dick, and I'm just a dude with my dick out, like walking in a circle, waiting for the next spot, it would have been, we'd have no armor to fall back on,
Right.
It would be just a nude guy.
So what was like the consensus backstage? What was backstage like after that?
Well, I mean, I was like, I don't know. I didn't really ask for any of the older heads' permission. So not going to lie, that did go through my mind. Everybody, from what I've heard, loved it. They thought it was funny, or they just thought it was crazy. A couple of the guys reached out to me. Masada, Dirty Ron, just like kind of crediting it for pushing the envelope kind of thing.
For sure.
But as long as ticket sales like go up and stuff goes up, I think everybody's gonna be fine, you know. And that was kind of the only hope with it was I was like, I'm hoping that Rob kind of noticed too and inflate like a spike after the night when the spot came out. I'm sure a lot of people couldn't find it. Like guys like us, we know where to go for shit like that. But for the average public on Twitter or on Instagram, Facebook, most of Twitter, it had been blocked, right? So if somebody really wanted to see it, the only way that they could have was to go for as long as they didn't know where to go, they would have to buy it, right? So I'd like
celeb jihad for them.
Right. Yeah. And it works out, you know, it's a win-win for everybody. And as you know, obviously the Raver stuff too took away for a lot of it. Even backstage, I think a lot of people were just fired up to see Raver and not really. Like a lot of the guys didn't see the spot too. They were upstairs when it happened and there's no monitor up there. So they didn't.
Sure,
they
blame it on the upstairs, not your tiny dick. You know.
Right. Yeah. That's why they didn't see it. Yeah, that's good. That's funny.
What is he stabbing down there?
He's getting stabbed in a vagina. His vagina is getting carved up.
Oh man, dude. It's definitely, I mean, yeah, how much further can you push the fucking envelope? Now, let me ask you this. What is I mean, you obviously probably punk rock about it. I'm sure the whole fucking, you know, Fed is about the quote unquote backlash of that. I mean, because there's know, the spot like that, dude, there's, you know, for the extreme people in nature that like that sort of entertainment and just fucking anarchy, if you will. Right. There's a good majority that don't, you know. What have you had any like super negative blowback from that or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. There was so much stuff on Twitter and shit, you know, that was negative. But I stay. I don't really listen or engage with most of that stuff. As far as my friends go, they were all supportive. Whether they say stuff, but you know, behind your back, that's
right.
You can't control that. You know what I mean? But in terms of me, it was all positive. And you started off with saying, where do I go from that? And that was kind of the biggest kick in the knackers. Was it's like we have California coming up, which is our biggest show. And it's like, I was so itchy and giddy to do the spot. I just wanted to do it, you know. I probably should have waited something out for Kid. Because, where do you go? like, I said to Joe after, where do we go from here? And Joe goes, well, I can sew your asshole shut. You know, obviously not like a spot that won't happen, but just the explaining the level of craziness to go next is like, I'm not. Do you remember Pain Olympics from back in the day?
I don't know if I ever seen any, but I know the name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It was like a competition on the internet where everybody had to send in videos of them getting hurt. And the guy who placed in second made a video of him like chopping his dick off and like scooping like his nuts out and stuff. Like it was like an all-time great video.
Okay,
but obviously not going there. But that whenever I think of like what's next, like the only thing that comes to mind is that Pain Olympics video, which has a huge. No, don't expect that.
If Rob really wants to fork out some fucking money, you know, you might as well get Lorena Bobbitt there and do it right.
What does she do?
She chopped off her husband's penis in the 90s and threw it fucking out the car, out the window or some shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Just make sure you got an ice box handy.
Yeah, like the Hangover, like the finger in the Hangover.
Yeah. Dude. Oh my God. Yeah. It's like you said, where do you go from there, man? I mean, that's a huge...
and something will hit us eventually. You know what I mean? Like the great thing too now is I can always tease it, you know, like if I'm working with heels and in a face, like the multi-man coming up, it's perfect. You know what I mean? Give the face a moment to tease it and then the heels can glob them or whatever. So I'll probably use that for a bit. But in terms of like that next moment, eventually I'll be itching for something. And I'm like, all right, let's just do this.
So speaking of XPW and you guys, you know, the California 2 is coming up, streamxpw.com, April 28th. Is there 22nd? 22nd.
20. Yeah, I think it's the 22nd. It's on a Saturday.
It is a Saturday. So everybody be sure to tune into that. Fucking deathmatch tournament, dude. You've been doing a deathmatch thing for quite some time, though, various indie promotions and like GCW and whatnot. But aside from those promotions, what attracted you to XPW and how the fuck did you get involved with them?
I was living on Jimmy Lloyd's couch. This was like probably Close to almost exactly a year ago, I would say. And obviously, I knew about XPW from the New Jack Vic Grimes fall,
Yeah.
and kind of went and watched a little bit of it here and there. But when I got into deathmatch, it had been so long since that XPW was in the rotation that CZW was kind of what was pushed as the mecca for that time, because it was probably at 2017, 2018. Like that was the year that I was getting into it. But when I was living at Jimmy's house, he was the one who was saying like, "Hey, we got to go work for Rob Black. He's doing this theater brutality show. It's in Rochester. And if I call him, I'm sure we could get on if you're willing to drive me down." So I was so hungry, just looking for any kind of promotion to kind of latch on and book me. And I was getting a lot of work like with companies, but it was always like maybe twice a year, once a year. Like they would keep me in the rotation. It wasn't like a solid spot that I would get, a once a month booking from it. So we watched the Dark Side of the Ring on Rob Black, who actually one of my best friends from Toronto played it, because he played Rob in it, because it was filmed in Toronto.
No shit.
So and they used the local wrestlers for it, right? So my buddy played Rob in it, which I thought was funny. And I was like, after watching it, I felt like if there was a wrestling company that was me, like me as a person rolled up into a wrestling company, it sounded pretty close to XPW. Just the insaneness of it. So and the want to have fun, when you're not wrestling. So it kind of intrigued me, and then I went out there, had a crazy ass time, wrestled Jimmy there, and it was a good match. And then Rob and I kind of went back and forth for a little bit before he finally, I guess, like trusted me enough to pull the trigger and give me a match. And he gave me Drake for the first one, which was like Drake will make anybody look like $1 million. So I owe a lot kind of to that, for Drake shining me up that first night, and making him want to book me.
For sure. God, I was doing a little bit of research on you. Who the fuck did you train with again?
Santino Marella.
Santino. Yeah.
Cobra guy. Yes,
yeah, the Cobra. So who is now like the DOA at Impact Wrestling. What was that like training with him, and how the fuck did you I mean, he's Canadian as well, so obviously there's that connection, but how the fuck where does that come from? Where does wrestling begin with you?
So I was in grade 9. I want to say it was 2014, 2015. And I was like, school, like I was not a great student. I guess, as you could probably tell, even just talking to me for 20 minutes, it wasn't going good. And I was in an alternative school even at the time, because I was just skipping, like I wasn't going. And I knew in my head, I was like, fuck this, I don't want to do it. And I wanted to kind of get into something that, even like I knew if there wasn't a great end game of it, I wanted to try and do something that I cared about. And then later, if I crashed and burned, then I would fix it from there. But like, I just wanted to do it. So you said, how the fuck do you, as a kid, you're like, how do I get into getting into pro wrestling? It seems like something that you're like sworn into, that you can't just like, not everybody's in. And I typed in like pro wrestling schools near me. And sure enough, like Santino School, which is like one of the nicest schools in Canada, was like a 30-minute drive from my house. Like not even, and I knew the area it was in, and I just had never even seen the bill, like never even thought that would have been a wrestling building. So I went over there to meet him. And funny enough, the day that I went there to meet him was when WWE was here doing like a live event. So all the guys came there to work out before. So I go to walk into this place on the first, like being like, oh, let me go see what wrestling, like, talk to Santino and see if I can be a wrestler. And I walk in and there's like Damian Sandow, Heath Slater, The Miz, like all these WWs. So I'm thinking like they're going to be here every fucking day, like, cause it's your first day you walk in. Right. And obviously then later on realizing they were only in town for a couple of days. But yeah, I talked to Santino. To answer your question about him, coolest fucking guy, like just loves to have a beer and hang out with the guys, like very, very strict, like stern ass trainer. But when it's time, when stuff's all said and done, like he was the greatest, nicest guy to be around. Right. So he was battling an injury too when I was there, the one that he got let go from the Fed over. So he was mostly just rehabbing that and stuff too. So I'm sure he's even, better to be around now.
Yeah, dude. I always like that guy. He's I mean, his in-ring shit like a WWE, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever, but
right.
He played his fucking part well. And I like his personality, dude, like how it's coming off now in Impact Wrestling. I think is pretty cool. I like that they got him involved. And I mean, Impact's pretty much a Canadian company now. They're owned by what is that? Anthem.
Anthem still, yeah.
Yeah. Who are you cool with up there in Canada, like on the indie scene? I mean, you know, like Shane Saber and all them guys. Like,
Yeah, Shane's kind of on the outs. Like I don't really work much of his shows. The guys that I kind of like, pretty Ricky Wilde, Brandon Tidwell, like they mostly impact guys in like the impact feeder system.
right?
That kind of go out there. But in terms of like the guys that I kind of started with, and I'm sure if you know from wrestling from years, like not a lot of them stick on, you know. So like to answer your question about Shane, I haven't seen him in like 2 years or something. But if you would have asked me that 4 years ago, yeah, he was a little bit more, you know, of an active guy.
And you've done some work. Another guy we had on the show, Casanova Valentine.
Yes.
What's your friendship like with him? Because he's
Yeah,
doing some cool shit, man. That no
Yeah,
ring
he's-
shit.
Yeah, he's always been really, really cool to me. He was in one of the guys that booked me kind of early on, before other guys would. So he's always been super helpful to my career, kind of thing.
The deathmatch stuff. I mean, is that something that you were just like, because you're not the biggest guy in the room, you know, right? Like, so
No.
it's something that maybe would help you stand out. Like, where did you get the drive and like, because it really does take a different breed to, you know, do deathmatch wrestling. Where's that desire to do that specific niche in professional wrestling come from?
Right. Well, I was going. I wanted to go and find somewhere to work, and Mexico over in DTU. They were willing to book me because they wanted American guys on their
They
roster.
love beating up, you know,
Yeah.
gringos down there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
So-
I've had guns pointing at me. What the fuck?
Right. Yeah. They don't give a fuck. I was lucky enough. I was in Tulancingo for most of it, which is a pretty like safe, nice. It's in Hidalgo, so it was pretty nice, like safe there. But they were basically like, yeah, if you want to come down here, that's fine. But if you're going to come down here, you have to bleed. So it was a pretty easy choice. I ended up getting to work for AAA with them, CMLL for them. So it was an easy trade off. And then, yeah, doing it, once you do it, you're hooked. Like the way I describe it is like, it just makes normal matches not as exciting. Like you almost always want to do the death matches now, you know, normal matches just like it doesn't, you know, thrill you as much as having all the weapons in it
Right.
and whatnot.
It's kind of like I mean, I guess to put it in a little bit, I want to say maybe for lack of better verbiage, lamer terms, but like a guy like, say, Jeff Hardy, who is,
Yeah.
you know, getting the thrill, he gets his rocks off from fucking crazy stunts, you know, and spots in wrestling when, you know, we were kids that were fucking insane, you know,
Yeah.
almost something akin to that, but on a much more extreme level, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, versus like a mat-based guy. Like I have nothing against any style of wrestling. That's one thing that I love about wrestling is there's so many different avenues and ways. It's for everybody and anyone can
Yeah.
do it. But yeah, I don't know. To me, it's always been more like I looked up to guys like Joey Janela a lot. So that kind of style. Even like you don't have to have weapons.
12-ounce curl style and the cigarette.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bud Lights and the cigarettes. But you don't even have to have glass per se and stuff in a match, but just that chaos car crash style of matches that he had, that's what like brought me to loving it.
What's your take on like the current deathmatch scene? I mean, do you think it's a little played out? Do you think it's just getting started? Like where do you see deathmatch wrestling at right in this moment in time?
In terms of like deathmatch, in terms of wrestling, deathmatch is the only real like form of it, you know what I mean? So in the rise of like UFC and shit like that and people loving like actual real competition, I think it's fun to I think it's like nothing else, and it's a cool concept to go to a show with your friends, to have some drinks and, you know, watch these two guys fight and bleed real blood and you know, potentially die and have just something that's like unlike any other experience. So I think it's just getting started in a sense that it's going to grow a lot. I also think the scene, people are just so fucking gnarly. And like we've talked about this in locker rooms too, where it's like every weekend somebody's just taking some crazy horrific bump where it's like it just keeps setting the bar up higher and higher and higher, right? Where it's like one day, you know, something horrible is going to happen and we're all just going to be in fucking wheelchairs by the end of it. So
yeah,
I'd like to see a bit of a mesh, like maybe integrate more storyline stuff to have more like the Cardona Nick Gage thing. That was such a great fucking match and and yes, they did draw blood and they did do crazy stuff, but it wasn't like they were just doing, and I sound old saying this, but it wasn't like meaningless shit.
Right.
everything in that match meant something, and it was awesome, right? So I wish maybe more, more matches on the card could be like that.
He became the fucking king of the death match, and he only wrestled one death match.
Right. Yeah. It's just, kudos to everyone that was involved in that storyline. You know what I mean? They did such a good job of setting it all up to where that payoff where they wrestled. It was awesome.
Who are some of your favorite like old school death match guys?
Back in the day, I watched a lot of Pondo, Madman Pondo, and then obviously I have to say, because he's in the roster, Necro Butcher, just a classic. He's the guy that when I wrestled, like he was the only one that like my girlfriend's ever like actually been excited to for me to watch wrestle, because she watched the movie The Wrestler, and that's how she knew him from. So he's an absolute legend. Guys like Masada too. He's definitely just all around professional.
What's Necro like backstage, like in the locker room and shit? Is he pretty helpful? He's watching any of the matches, giving you any fucking pointers, like how to take a proper needle in the dick?
Yeah, he said it was funny. He said it was hilarious, the needle and dick. That's all I got back from Necro on that one. But he's awesome, man. He loves his baseball. He just loves fucking being a brother and hanging out. He's always in a good mood, and every time I see him, I just smile. Like he doesn't even have to say anything. Just like Necro sitting there drinking beers, it just makes you almost want to laugh. Like it's awesome.
Fuck yeah, I'd like to kick it with him one day and drink a few.
Hell yeah.
Outside of like, excuse me, what you're doing XPW and the death match scene and all that, what's going on in the wrestling world today that kind of is maybe sucking you in, or you're just like, fuck it?
The Sami Zayn Roman Reigns feud, I got really behind, and I don't know if that's just being Canadian, but like I thought that was fucking awesome. Like even the fact, like the whole setup going into that match where it's just like, okay, well, obviously Roman's gonna win, but like also like it just felt like he might not have. But then it's like, well, Roman's got like that long ass title range, so there's no way that Sammy's gonna win. But it still felt like he might have, like there was so
Great
many
storytelling, man.
And it was obvious that it was just a tune-up program before his Mania program, which on paper we would see right through that. But there was, just for whatever reason, you still felt in the back of your heart there was a chance that he was going to win. So
Agreed.
That was awesome. And then Mania weekend was awesome. Circle Six, I watched a lot of their shit because I don't have the fight, whatever fight thing you need to watch GCW. So
Fight Plus.
Yes, yeah. So I was just watching the Circle Six stuff, which was awesome. Atticus Cobb his brother Otis had a crazy like Clockworks Orange match. I forget the fucking guy that he wrestled, but it was insane. It was awesome.
Circle Six is the name's popping up a lot here recently, man. They seem to be doing everything right, getting a lot of attention. What's your thoughts on them?
I mean, yeah, we like them. I'm pretty sure we still have a working relationship with them. I know we were doing that thing with Atticus. So I don't know what's next in terms of that, but yeah, they've always been cool. Everybody there. I haven't met a lot of them. Like MDK, Mike was gone, was like not around. He was already doing Circle Six by the time that I was kind of in that neck of the woods. So I had never gone to meet him. But yeah, I've heard a lot of my friends work there, so they're giving guys a home to work. So that's great.
Hey, what's your thoughts on the whole Kid Rock Bud Light situation? That everybody's like, man, this guy's a real piece of shit. Like, dude's been white trash since day one.
Right.
And it made shitty music.
This is honest to God, it's like, I get what Bud Light was doing, but like, oh my God, how can you not see that was going to be a problem? Like, they were trying to do something nice, and it got so much, it blew them back so much, where it's like, how before even doing that, they should have known that it's just not that demographic. Like it was some PR guy lost his job over it for sure.
Yeah.
It's
like, I think like
worth it.
That'd be something cool if you're gonna do something like that. I mean, and really, I can't even say that, because I mean, if you're gonna fucking do it. I mean, let's face it, they're only fucking doing it to sell more product anyway. So it's not like it's a genuine cause, it's all corporate. But it's still cool that they fucking did it. But if maybe to catch a little less flack and that brother can keep his job, maybe like during Pride Festival or something, they do limited edition fucking cans or some shit. What was up? Was that a superimposed picture I saw on your Instagram?
Oh, yeah, no, that's real, baby. Check Bud Light sponsorship, the body, buy them up. Buy a Bud
Really?
Light, man. Oh yeah, that's just it's everywhere. Check out XPW at the merch stand at the next show. We're gonna have a beer truck too selling them.
So there's Bud Light cans with fucking you on them.
Yes, if you would like to drink one, you may drink one.
I'll fucking drink a lot.
If I get a case, tell you what, for doing this show, if I get a case, I'll send them to you. I'll send you a full
dude,
case.
you would be the man. You would be the motherfucking man. Yeah. Hey, let's jump out of the wrestling fucking pool and go to a little more Adult Swim here for a second. What kind of music you like to fucking get down to?
A lot of pop, as I'm sure that's not something you'd want to hear, but I was listening to AC/DC earlier. That album, I had one of theirs going in my car, but I listen to a bit of hip hop, bit of metal. I mean, a bit of everything. A lot of radio music, like a lot of the music that I learn about or new songs that I get are from just listening to various radio stations driving. So a lot of it's like that. I've never been great at finding new music. Like I'm always, if I meet somebody and I like their taste of music, I'm always like, bro, send me songs. Like I need something new to go. Cause I'll listen to the same shit over and over again, like the same, like 6 songs that are catchy at the time. And then it burns them out for me. And then I don't want to listen to them anymore. So there's been like so many great songs that I've like ran their course from. And now I don't listen to anymore because of that.
Dude. All right, so music's not necessarily a big part of your life, but what else outside of the wrestling? Like, who the fuck is the Body?
I listen to a lot of stand-up comedy. That's a way that I pass a lot of time, and I look at it kind of the same as wrestling, where it's like there's so much of me that wants to get into it and start doing it because it's such a close crossover.
Dirty Ron, good brother,
yeah, exactly.
Dirty Ron.
Yeah.
We actually got a show booked with him, another dude out in Gary, Northwest Indiana, where I'm at. May 29th, so that should be getting announced soon.
Oh yeah. Do you do stand up?
Do I do stand up?
Yeah.
Every day I live, I'm talking to you right now. It's a fucking joke, isn't it? No, I don't do stand up. I would probably, like I said, fail miserably because I involve stand up in my everyday way of life and how I communicate with people.
Like stand up, I sit down.
Yeah. Wait, no, we're not trying to get canceled, brother. We don't want no fucking ridicule. We're standing up for everything and anyone, unless you're a complete piece of shit, like Kid Rock.
We sit down for Kid Rock. That's the new slogan of your show. We sit down for Kid Rock.
Dude, if you couldn't, like, I saw this picture. So at UFC, the big pay-per-view that just happened on Saturday. And then, of course, because it's Monday and you have to have a shitty day, first thing I see when I get online is like, Donald Trump, Dana White, Kid Rock, and fucking Mike Tyson. And Mike was cool, man. I got to meet Mike. He was super awesome. But man, just talk about a picture you just don't want to fucking see because, like, man, whether those guys are cool or not to anybody, like, that's just like, that's something everybody's gonna just jump on and start talking shit about. I'm like, isn't there more important things going on in the world than this fucking picture of these assholes hanging out? Guess what? Assholes group together and they hang out.
So why were they even mad? Why were they mad about them together?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I can't explain why anybody gets mad. I could see why people would get mad that they seen your dick getting stabbed, and I enjoyed it. But I'm not mad at it at all. But you know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are just sitting there. Come on, they're not paying anybody off for sex right then and there, or slapping their wives, or, you know, raping their girlfriends, or damn, they're really not good people, are they? Anyways. Sidetrack media. What about movies and shit? What do you get into as far as what you like to be entertained with in the movie theater?
I don't know. If I'm going to a movie, it's probably a horror movie. That's usually my go-tos for those. But I don't know. Like, it's as crazy as it sounds with wrestling and stuff. Like, I have very like little free time that I have, and now
doesn't sound crazy.
Well, I put all of it to sports because it's been such a crazy time for that. Like, baseball's just starting, and then the hockey playoffs are about to kick off.
Who's your team? Who's your team in the MLB?
The Jays. Jays for sure.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I like the Rays a little bit too. Like,
why? Because it rhymes with fucking Jays?
Rays? Yeah.
Potato chips?
No, but the Jays were kind of shitty growing up, so I ended up picking a better team that, you know.
Who went to,
on the other hand.
Didn't Frank Thomas go there after his time with the Sox?
Yeah, we had Frank Thomas for a while, like most of the time that I was like really young as a fan. I remember him pretty good.
They won in like 05 and he got a ring. I mean, he got injured that year, so he was like basically got the ring from the bench, you know, but And I think the next year they didn't re-sign him or he traded, whatever. You guys can fucking let me know. I can't remember. But I love the Big Hurt, dude. Like growing
Yeah,
up,
he's awesome.
big White
He's a
Sox
good guy.
fan. You know, we're in the Chicagoland area. I don't really care for the Cubs. It's like a big thing. You know,
Oh, you're White Sox over Cubs. How's that split? Is it like like where you live in the city? Some of them watch the one and the other, or it's just depending on who you root for?
dude, pretty much. But I think, I mean, I don't know. I would say if you were to ask Chicago and do an actual census on it, most of them will probably be Cubs fans.
Right.
But I don't know. I just feel like the Sox are like, you know, I'm actually in Northwest Indiana, like I said, like Gary, Indiana, right there. I could spit across the street into it, you know. It's more the working man, fucking lower middle class like team, you know, where the Cubs are, I guess they're for everybody, you know.
Right.
They're for
That makes
everybody.
sense. Obama was a big White Sox fan, and he represented that a lot, like working man, common guy. So that's a good representation. Yeah, Toronto, we're the opposite. Everybody hates our sports teams, even in Canada. So, it's because
They hate the Maple Leafs too.
It's like the New York of Leafs.
More
Leafs
Oilers fans?
But Oilers only in Edmonton, I would say. But up there, they all hate each other. Like all those teams, like the rivalries between like Flames and Oilers, or Oilers and Canucks, or Flames and Canucks, like they all hate each other.
Do you watch Letterkenny?
Yeah, actually, I got a buddy. He's one of the skids on the show. He works a couple towns over. He's just starting to be a wrestler. He's a huge deathmatch fan. But yeah, that's an awesome show. I love if everybody in the States, they always talk to me if they know it's Canada about Super Troopers or Letterkenny. Those are the only two, and I've literally never fucking seen Super Troopers. Letterkenny's awesome. But
Did you ever listen to
have so
Triumph,
much-
another great export from Canada?
Which one?
Triumph. You ever heard the band Triumph?
No.
Get
No,
the
no.
fuck, lay it on the line, dude. Come on. You've heard that shit. Lay it on the line. You've had that.
I was gonna sing it exactly like that. I'm not even kidding you. I have heard that. When I
I
heard
get
Lay It On
poppy
the
on
Line,
it.
I did hear it. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff that I think, like Kenny versus Spenny is
Remember Kenny
Canadian-
versus fucking Spenny? Holy shit, I was just talking to someone like a month ago about that.
bro. That
They're like, what
I
are you
think
talking
is-
about? I'm like, I spent too much
best.
time inside.
No, man. At least once every 3 months, I go back and I watch those Kenny versus Spenny's over,
Wow.
like all of them back over. That's by far probably my top show. That and Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah. I never watched much of Trailer Park Boys, so like I can't. I've seen a little bit of it. I liked it. I always thought it was like a Juggalo thing. No knock to Juggalos, but man, most of you guys are weird. I'm sorry.
I know. Hey, yeah, Canadians were a little weird for sure. I'll give you that. I wouldn't say we're flappy head, beady eye fuckers or whatever they call us in South Park, but it's not.
Oh yeah, hey buddy.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy Lloyd loves it. He fucking loves the South Park dude. Every time I'm with him, he's just like always bringing up the Blame Canada song or whatever the fuck. There's no shortage of like Canadian jokes and that thing. Actually, Kenny Hotz is a writer on the guy from Kenny vs. Spenny. He's one of the writers of South Park.
Hell yeah, dude. There's so much good shit going on. You guys up in Canada though, you keep it real. You keep it 100. I think for the most part. A lot of people I've met from Canada are super cool.
We do.
Huge
Quebec shouts in.
Quebec PCO. He's a good brother. Have you had a chance to meet PCO? He didn't.
Never.
He didn't do that XPW. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no idea what happened there. Sorry, yeah, no, just no show on that one. I have no idea if he talked to Rob or not, but I was excited to meet him. I like guys like Sexy Eddie and Green Phantom. Green Phantom was one that I never met either from there, and I needed somebody to wrestle me in Rochester, and Rob was letting me pick a guy, and it was just at a no ring there, and I needed somebody that was close, that wasn't working for ICW, because obviously it was at that time that there was that huge beef between them, so nobody wanted to piss off their respected boss. So it was hard to find somebody trustworthy to do the thing. I didn't want to bring somebody in there that was gonna either shit the bed or get cold feet, or you know what I mean,
Right.
especially dealing with glass and shit. So I called Phantom, and he drove over there and was like such a fucking professional. And the dude looks like $1 million too. Like in person, he's jacked, he's tall, he definitely fits the part. But yeah, we had an awesome match there, and then we've kept a good relationship since then. And then he ended up using me for the IWS GCW show, so I guess it all came out in the wash.
He came in Uto, right?
If it, no, well, yeah, ouch, that's the one I do the most. No, about. If I'm talking quick and I say about, that's the one I get called on the most for sure.
Excuse me, sir. I believe I have the floor here. Excuse me.
Flaviad.
Dude, you kept mentioning Rochester and shit. Like, you ever? Well, no, I mean, obviously the Canada thing, but a name that comes to mind, the late Brody Lee, man. What were your thoughts on him and his body of work, man?
He was another guy. Like, I never got the chance to meet, but everybody that I met, like that has talked about him, has nothing but fucking great things to say. Colin Delaney and him, I think, were really close, and both obviously being Rochester guys. And we were bitching about how the Canadian border is kind of an ass. Like, they're assholes when you go through it. They grill you and grip you for all the wrong reasons. And apparently Brody, who was a really smart guy, they said, like a really intelligent guy, he came up to the border one day to come wrestle in Toronto, and they wouldn't let him across. And he was like, "You don't understand. Rule, 17 on page this of this book has the act that allows me, that says that I have to be able to cross." And he hits the lady with all his rights, and she ended up turning him away anyways.
I'd be like, "Motherfucker, go get me the Rougeau brothers."
Yeah, not the Rougeaus. Jeez Louise. Those guys. I don't know what the fuck that one's up to now. He always just posts that.
Who, the Mountie?
Is that the one that has the camps, those super camps that he brings people in?
I thought it was, yeah. I think it is Jacques, the Mountie.
He's the best, man. He has these super camps where he brings in all these people, and it's always a hot chick that wins. For whatever reason, the hot chick is just
because
the best
they always will. What are you gonna do to a hot chick?
Like, I don't know how these hot chicks are just always the best one in the class, but fuck, they always win.
Hey man, there's a Grim Reaper song called "Suck It and See." Maybe there's a little truth behind that story. I don't know.
Well, this I heard this from a guy once where he says that you don't just suck a dick for the job. You suck the dick every day to keep the job, and that's the cold hard truth of the reality, right?
Yeah, truth of reality is I clock in for work every day, and I feel like I'm getting fucked up the ass. So from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, that's a shoot.
Yeah, if his boss is listening, fuck you, dude. He's sick of your shit.
Yeah.
Sounds like your boss.
So
get your boss on here. Let's go.
What's that?
I said, get your boss on here. Let's go. Let's tell him you're not fucking around anymore.
Dude, I'm about to tell him I ain't fucking around. He'll probably listen to this and be like, "You're fired." And I'll be like, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah, no, we're kidding. We're kidding. We're characters. This is characters.
Pro wrestling. Don't you know it's a work? Don't drop those F-bombs. That's the only show or verbs you can't say on this show.
Oh, yeah.
We don't fuck around with that. So as far as like worldwide wrestling, where do you feel is like the strongest, like, I guess where would you like to see yourself, like style wise? Like, you got Japan with the strong style and like pretty much the inventors of like the death match, really, Lucha Libre, there's the American style of British, which is a different strong style than Japanese, like what's kind of like some of your favorite mixes in pro wrestling?
And when I started training, so Santino did a lot of Japanese styled wrestling, shoot like strong. It was called Battle Art style. It was basically Pancreas, but he was so adamant that WWE, and it's so funny, he was so adamant that WWE was going into the direction of UFC, and like he would keep.
If Heyman had his way, I think it would have been.
And yeah, for sure, a lot of people, I think that's where it was kind of going. So it is funny now that they got signed by them. I don't know how big that's going to influence like the overall product of it. I don't think we're going to be seeing guys in an 8-sided ring, running spots or anything. But I loved the battle arts like Japanese style. Lucha Libre sucked only like for me because, and I was talking about this with Gringo Loco, where if you're a gringo down there, they almost want you to either, if you're a guy like my size, you better be the sickest motherfucking flyer that they have. But the problem is they have classes with 60 kids deep that all can do anything, so to try to compete gnarly levels with them, it's almost impossible. And then on the other aspect, they want big white dudes to catch them, or big gringos to catch them and base for their flippy dudes, to look good and do that. And I wasn't big enough to be able to do that. So I kind of fell in between of that, not big enough to be a base and then not crazy enough of a flyer. So it didn't work out well as I wanted to in terms of making money down there. But I would love DDT in Japan. I think that would be a pretty good fit for me. And then there's
dude.
also
That'd be cool if they did like an XPW DDT crossover. I mean, dudes are eating butts and sucking nuts there, you know. Like, what was the one I seen from Mania weekend?
Yeah, bro, that was a rough look.
That was a rough look. Like, yeah, people are gonna give you shit for sticking a needle up your cock.
Yeah.
At least you had the balls to do it, and it's fucking reminds me of Gigi Allen, so I'm all aboard. But dude, I mean, that was straight like the greatest answer I saw on social media. I forgot which platform it was, but it was like the reply to that was like, just take your face out of his balls or whatever. Like, this guy's knocked out. Like, you're gonna believe that this dude's knocked out with his, you know, suffocating on this guy's fucking scrotumnal eclipse.
Yeah, that's the best is when people break down wrestling moves and they think that they're like, they break down the realness of them, and it's somebody actually freaking out, being like, no, just kick out here, put your arm here, like telling him like real reversals. And it's just like, oh man, you obviously just fucking, I don't know, you missed the boat, you know.
Let me ask you this. I mean, so you're doing, you know, you do the spot, the needle, and the damage done, right? Title episode is what happened. Is there a fucking moment for you like that where there's just something even the body won't do?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's something if somebody said something like crazy.
Of course, you know, but
off the top of my head, I mean, you know what? I've had a couple close calls with gussets, with the gussets.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a huge. Actually, if you watch back my entrance, I don't know if it came up on the page, like on the video or not, but I'm like circling around the ring, and there's a gusset, just one loose gusset underneath the rope, like somebody had left there for us to use, and I just take it and kick it right under the ring, like right on my entrance. I saw it and just really sleight of handedly. I didn't want anyone to really see. I just kind of take it and tuck it under the ring. I was like, that's not, because I'm not stupid. I know in the match, if there's any, it's going to be fucking Joe sticking it to me. There's no point in this match where it's going to be like, the body's got him on the fucking ropes. Like, let's go. He's got all the time in the world. He's looking for weapons now, you know. It's survival mode. So
bag of needles, dude.
Yeah, I got rid of any
thumbtacks.
Yeah, tacks are cool. I'll fuck with those. Those are fun.
Tacks, ladders, tables, all that shit.
Yep. Oh, fire. That's one I'll do because it looks fucking awesome. But I burnt myself like super bad when I was younger. Like up here a couple of years ago, I got choke slammed off a stage through a flaming table, and I don't know if I think I might have been wearing Axe. Like, that's right. And it lit me up, dude. I was in it, like the burns were just like even if I burn my finger, like going to put a frozen pizza in the oven or something, it fucking sucks. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I'm just not a fan of burns. Cuts, different story. Burns, they suck.
Bleed all day, but I don't want to be crisp.
Right? Yeah.
Is there anybody that you're kind of looking that you have in mind, maybe that you want to holler at Rob or anywhere really that anybody's willing to book dream matches? Well, I'm trying to avoid saying that. Who do you want to fucking work with coming up in the future?
I like Dirty Ron a lot.
I can see that would be a good fit, and good story to build off of, man.
I don't know if it's 100% yet, but I want to say we were talking about, I think the May Fist show. Fist Combat, whenever the show is that they have in May, I'm pretty sure it's going to be me and Ron in it. So that's I'm excited because I've wanted to work that guy for a minute. He's been really nice to me. Masada, I want to work. He's the last, like, other than Schlack, but I feel like I've known Schlack for long enough where it's like I've already earned that his respect. Like I'm just from Brotherhood. Like Masada was the guy that I came in here and just kind of started meeting, who's been great to me, but I still need that. I still need that kind of match with him to be like, hey, listen, like, I'm not just a Mark kid. Like, you know, there's a reason why I'm here kind of thing. So, and I've already had that with Necro, with Drake. He's sort of the last one that I need that kind of stamp of approval on, you know.
Call it the tramp stamp of approval.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he'll put it there. And hardcore hillbilly
yeah.
too. Just lastly, he's a sweetheart. I don't know. I talk to that kid a lot in my shoe life, so he's always very, very nice.
Before we give you the floor here, you know, to kind of let everybody know where they can find you on socials and whatnot, if you care to let them know. What's like one of the craziest party stories you can think since you've been in wrestling? Because, dude, I you know, I've been in a band for fucking 20 years, hardcore underground, grindcore shit. I've been to play some shit I can't even talk about on air. But what's some of the wildest like party moments you've had just hanging out with some of these dudes?
You've come to the right place for the party stories for sure. This one's not an XPW one, but it was Rene Dupree. Speaking of Canadian,
Really, Rene Dupree?
Yeah,
dude, he does a fucking show too. He's got a podcast.
Who Paul London? So quick, super quick. The first show where I wrestled Drake, I just bladed. I'm bleeding in the corner. I'm fucking selling out. I'm kind of looking around. I look to my right. Paul London's in the first row, giving me fucking double thumbs up, dude. Yes. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, is that fucking Paul London? And then later ended up
rabbit trap.
kind of marking out, being like, holy fuck, it's Paul London. But the story with Renee was we were at a place called the Alouette. It's a bar in the Paw, in near Winnipeg. We were doing shows up there, and on the death tours, those winter road tours that like Christian used to do, up on the reserves. And we end up going out to this bar. We get to the bar and everybody's evacuated. Somebody had just got into a fight and he sprayed bear mace or pepper spray, one of the two. And it's a tiny little bar. So it was shitty to breathe in. So they needed everybody out to kind of clear it out. So we're all outside. And I don't know why I start getting into an argument with this chick. Like we're like me and her, I'm calling her a slut. Like we're fucking bitching at each other. Like she should have smacked me for how rude, how hard we were going at it. Within like a minute later, we start talking and I'm like, hey, I'm staying at the hotel down the road. Do you want to come back while we wait? So I go from like this chick about to fucking smack on me to like, let's go back to my hotel. So I grab the chick. I tell Renee and my buddy Nick that I'm going back. Go back to the hotel. I fuck her. She ends up going back to go meet her friend, right? Like at the bar, like she gets into an argument. Her friend's pissed that she left with a guy and there's a huge like argument with the friend. So she goes downstairs to the lobby to talk to her friend. While she's downstairs, I'm like, well, yo, fuck this. Like I'm going back out to the bar, right? When I'm about to go back out, Nick and Renee come back in. Nick comes back in. So I'm like, oh, okay, like Nick's back, like whatever. He brought some takeaways. Let's just drink in the room. So we start drinking in the room. Renee never comes back up to the room. So we're like, okay, like that's weird. I don't know where Renee is.
Down whatever. The lobby, like, Alouette, Jante Alouette.
We not far off, honestly, of how he sounds, but I end up getting shit faced. So I start going to sleep. As I'm about to fall asleep, I see the girl from earlier that left the hotel room come back in the hotel room and start going through my shit. And I'm like half asleep and I start waking up and I'm like,
hard body gonna have to choke a bitch?
No, off the record, no. So I start screaming. I don't know why I even screamed this. I go, she's stealing my passport. That's the first thing that I screamed.
She Teddy Hearted your ass, dude.
I didn't even have my passport on the trip though. So I have no idea why I'm screaming she's going to steal my passport. But that's the first thing that I just thought in my head to scream. So I'm screaming she's stealing my passport, trying to wake Nick up to be like, what the fuck? She was actually going. So Renee had seen her crying in the hotel lobby. He picked her up and brought her back upstairs to fuck her after she had just left my room. So this bitch had a moment coming back upstairs where she was like, oh my God, I just got fucked and chucked from this room by one of the guys staying in it. And then another guy rebounded me from the same room. And he ended up
Rene Dupree.
He brought my sloppy seconds in the bathroom and fucked her. And then he said that I had a salty dick. And my name in Masha Slamovich's phone is still Salty Dick. To this day. Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking great. If you got a moment, feed us one more real quick you can think of.
Oh man, there's a lot of them. I'll get you a good Mexican one. We went out once partying with that's not crap. It was with Alex Ocean. Some guy dropped his gun on the floor, but I wouldn't say that was one of the wildest ones. On the spot, it's tough. I mean, the first night I went to XPW, this one I said, I think the other week, but we ended up going there and we did like, I don't know, like a ball of coke or whatever. And we had been up for like the whole night, like driving back through, and I was super fucked up. And I just remember being like, XPW so sick because like they had the porn over crossover, and I wanted to make sure that I fuck somebody when I was down there. And then I ended up having a threesome with High Pitch Will and his fucking girlfriend at the end of the night.
High Pitch Will, really?
Yeah, and we videotaped some of it.
One step closer to Cornette, brother.
Yeah, I mean, fair. And fucking, I think Raver had been hanging out at his place too. He said so.
In the
I'm like,
shadows, I bet, like sitting there.
Yeah, there's the crossover between Cornette and Raver crossover. But yeah, that's another. I mean, it's hard when you're on the spot, but it's every weekend, like every wrestling show you see, there's a lot of fun going on. So there's no short of stories.
How come we're not at these shows? Ren's like sitting here figuring out, like, I got to go to this show, go to that show.
Loco's pretty fun, but they're mostly weed guys. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get a lot. It doesn't end up. They all go to bed at some point. You don't get like the craziness that happens at 6 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that anymore, bro. I'm getting fucking old.
Hey,
to
dude,
each their own.
I'm 23. I feel like I'm got to retire my straw in a year or so. So I'm with you on that.
Well, brother, dude, it's been a fucking awesome time right now. Like I said, April 22nd, you got California 2, streamxpw.com. Let everybody else know what you got coming up and if you got any merch available or any of that, socials, all that shit.
Yeah, thank you, man. The Body XPW on Instagram. It's basically everything that you need there. And then, yeah, like you said, stream XPW for all your shit. And I am having merch. It'll be available on the XPW website where all the other guys' merch is. I think there's just a tab that you can access the store from there. So, yeah, go on XPW's website, check that out. And, yeah, California. Thank you.
I like how you left it off like Elvis. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I wish we could cut to Goodbye Horses, but I think we'll get flagged. God damn it.
I know. Great entrance music too. Schlack came up with that. That was his contribution to it. So, and I've been loving that.
I'm glad somebody did it, because I always said I'd never be a fucking wrestler, but if I ever did wrestling, that would be my fucking theme song.
Really?
For sure. Yeah.
That's funny, man. That's funny, because I wouldn't have taken it as a wrestling theme song, but the fact that you wanted it for it, that's great. Did you have any dance moves you envisioned yourself coming out to? Because that's the one thing I've been struggling to find. I gotta find
a little bit of Scott Hall, a little bit of fucking, tucking the penis as I do it, like trying to walk with the tuck. But I don't know, man. I like that weird shit. It's weird. It's funny shit that's not supposed to be good, but it's actually a pretty damn good fucking song. And it's just, anytime anybody hears it, though, they're not thinking of the artist. They're thinking of fucking that moment in the fucking movie,
Right.
Like, okay.
Even I gotta go, because you'll hate hearing this. I haven't even seen the movie,
Well, fuck it. You don't need to, Q Lazarus is good without the movie.
Yeah, I've just seen still shots, but even Buffalo Bill, if he has any weird dance moves that he does in that movie, I got to go back and watch it to try to kind of mimic it.
And I thought it would be a good movie to fuck with someone's head too. Like if you want to get wrestling psychology, it's like, what the fuck? That's androgynous. Come at me with your androgynousness. The boy said androgynous. Hey, Body, thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, leave some fucking comments below. Buy our shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/JPWtees. Check out some of the awesome concert footage that I've uploaded to jpdub.com right here. If you're listening on a podcast platform right now, thank you. Rate, review, share. That's all you got to do. Until next time, we'll be back
next week with some more fucking sick shit.
The Juice, Sretton, sometimes Bruiser Brody.
And the fucking Body.
Wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up.
Don't fucking wait for XPW in the Body. If you're not tuning in on April 22nd, I'm gonna fuck you. Oh.
You gonna do sex to me?
Did you like that video? If so, be sure to hit like and subscribe and check out more killer content from your boys at Juice Pro Wrestling. Whoa, yeah!